Hi, this is Bedrest Coach Darline Turner, owner and founder of Mamas on Bedrest and Beyond, and it's Video Wednesday. Today's video blog will address the issue of really regaining your strength after being on bed rest. This is a huge problem for mamas on bed rest, and we've talked about it a lot, and we talked about just recently the studies that NASA's doing trying to alleviate such a problem in astronauts. And as I said then and I'll say now, I find it funny that nobody's really that concerned about how to alleviate muscle loss, strength loss, endurance loss in mamas after being on bed rest. But this came up again because I got an email, or actually a comment on a blog post from a mom, and I was going to just shoot off an answer to her, and I thought, well, this is another great opportunity to really talk about how mamas on bed rest or mamas post bed rest can regain their strength after bed rest. So this comes from Mama Zoya, and she says, I was on strict bed rest for 5.5 months of my pregnancy. Though I successfully gave birth to a darling daughter who is a healthy and naughty 1-year-old now, I do not seem to have gained back even half my muscle strength. I've been a regular gym and outdoors person all my life, but of late, walking up a flight of stairs seems to be a task. This frustrates me into trying more and more of cardio and pushing myself to do more, but I just feel set back further into pain and weakness. I've been to doctors who suggest recovery takes time, but now I feel old and sad all the time, and I'm barely 26, so this is a really young woman, and she asked, do you have any advice on how I can make my life easier? Well, Zoya, and to all mamas on bed rest, first and foremost, I don't really have an answer to make your life easier, but I can recommend some things that might get you past this standpoint. She's saying her daughter is now 1 year old. So this has been an ongoing problem for her. One of the things that I think is hugely important, and I'm going to say it now quickly, although this won't apply to Zoya, is that mamas on bed rest do some form of stretching and movement while on bed rest. I hear all the doctors all the time, that's horrible, we put them on bed rest, we don't want them to do anything. If there is an absolute contraindication to a mama moving, then yes. Is she bleeding? Is she actively in preterm labor? Is her cervix rather funneling? If this is a really active event, then no, we don't want mama moving. But if we've gotten the acute situation stabilized, then yes, moms need to be moving their arms, they need to be moving their legs, because this woman was in bed for 5.5 months. That's anywhere from 20 to 25 weeks. That's a really long time. That's like half of a year. A year is only 52 weeks. So when you think about it in these terms, not many people lay around for that long. And, we cannot expect that women are not going to suffer some sort of debilitating, if not long-lasting, effects from this. So yes, if possible, I always say to mamas, try and do a little bit of exercise while you're on bed rest. And I, put together a bed rest fitness DVD. There are various videos on our YouTube page, and there are stretches, I think it's on the YouTube page. Anyway, I will have all that cited down. But here we have a mom who is postpartum by a year, and she's still not feeling any better. So what do we recommend for her? So for Zoya, and I had this come from another woman as well, at this point, I think you really need to get a little bit more aggressive. But first and foremost, I think you need to be evaluated. I will say straight up, doctors are probably your worst source for this type of thing. Physicians are trained to treat disease, and physicians are trained, especially obstetricians, are trained as surgeons. So they have a fairly limited field of expertise when it comes to dealing with the body in terms of disease. They're great with disease, they're great with problems, they're great with complications, but a lot of times on day-to-day maintenance, not so much. So when we're talking about physical disability like this, or physical limited ability, because it's really not disability, it's a limited ability, they're kind of like, well, it takes time. Well, that's really not an adequate answer. You're not happy with the answer. So what I say to mamas is, first and foremost, make sure everything's okay. And if possible, see if you can get a referral to a physical therapist. Because every now and then, mamas, they'll tweak some muscles and tweak some things. And if you're not checked, things are not going to go well. I used to talk to this one physical therapist all the time, and she worked a lot with women who had bladder issues and pelvic floor issues following pregnancy. And it was a very specific muscle that basically takes the hit as the baby is passing through the birth canal and supports a lot of the weight of the pregnancy, such that if it is not rehabbed properly, and she had the equipment and the expertise in this particular area, women often went for, bladder surgeries and trying to get it resuspended and everything, when it really was a matter of dealing with this one particular muscle. And this is my concern with you, Zoya. There may be a few outlying things that, doctors aren't going to see, we're not really thinking about, but a good physical therapist, or, and I say this and a lot of people disagree with me, a really good chiropractor will pick up. These people specialize in like muscles, bones, joints, and how the body works kinesthetically. Trying to say kinesiology, but kinesthetically, and like how your body moves, how your skeleton kind of sits within itself. And many times it's a matter of, the pelvis moving this way or the spine being aligned that way, that once these issues are corrected and aligned, your body, your muscles are then able to stop fighting so hard trying to pull you into alignment and to compensate for you being misaligned or weakened or not as strong, that then they can go back to functioning properly. What I have seen, and it's just as a result of mamas telling me after they've had consultations, is that being deconditioned and they become out of alignment, so that their muscle, the really well-functioning muscles, are overcompensating for the muscles that are not working so well. And that creates the system of they're trying to build strength. The muscles that they're working with aren't really the muscles that should be doing the strength and endurance, and that they're these muscles over here, but they're so deconditioned and good Lord, can't even speak today, without conditioning and ability, that they are not functioning. So, mom is working real hard, but she's counterworking herself. And this is when it's like you do really need to kind of stop. Stop running to the gym so much. Stop pushing yourself, because you're making a malaligned situation worse. I think you need now to consult with a professional. And a lot of people say, I can't afford that. The bottom line is, can you afford not to? Can you afford to keep doing this to your body without any good results, and possibly doing long-term / permanent damage? Again, a good physical therapist can look at the alignment and the musculature and how your body and body parts are moving in relationship to one another, and say, oh, well, do you know your spine's curved and maybe one hip's higher than the other one, and these all contribute to misalignments and missteps in gait and carriage and how you hold your body, such that you're up here trying to jog or something and your body's kind of skewed. You're not training and you're not strengthening in the proper way. Likewise, with a good physical therapist, a lot of time, chiropractor, you have the same type of thing. The body takes a huge amount of stress when it gives birth. And if your pelvis hasn't kind of been realigned, then the muscles connected to the pelvis are aligned, which then goes to the muscles connected to the legs. It just kind of rolls downhill. Again, get checked out. It's really, really important, because most women, even on 20 weeks or so of bed rest, can kind of come back. It may take them, 6 months or so, but they can come back. If it's a year out and you're still not really feeling well, I would have kind of looked at something at about 6 months, but definitely now at a year. You've given it a really good shot. You've been to the gym, you've been working out, you've been trying to strengthen yourself, and you're still feeling like you're not getting anywhere. So it's time to be a little more aggressive, a little more proactive, but seek out some professional help. Chiropractors, physical therapists, but someone who can really look at your body's alignment, test for strength, test for endurance, test for function, and make sure your muscles and bones, joints, what have you, are not only functioning, but functioning in the proper relationships to one another. Because what it sounds like to me is you became so deconditioned, things have kind of shifted to just make do, and now you're trying to train in a make do type of state, and that's not what you want to do. You want to train in the optimum state for your body. So you want to make sure your hips, your legs, your torso, everything is in the right configuration so that it'll train properly, it'll tone properly, it'll strengthen properly, and you'll be able to go on and do those things that you want to do. So that's what I have for you today, Zora. I hope this is helpful. I hope it's helpful to all you mamas on bed rest, currently on bed rest, and those former. If you are currently on bed rest, please stretch your body. The exercises that we have on our YouTube site are very gentle but effective, and they can keep you from becoming fully deconditioned. This is real serious, and it really happens. Of course, check with your doctor. Some of them may say no. But if you're on bed rest for, incompetent cervix or preterm labor, there's no reason you can't move your arms, no reasons why you can't wiggle your toes. We can work with this. For those mamas post-bed rest, if you're having problems and you've really given it a good shot, I'd say 3 to 6 months out postpartum, you need to get checked out. Physical therapist, chiropractor, sports medicine physician, whoever, but make sure that your body is in alignment and able to properly train and rehab itself. So that's it for me, Darline Turner, Bedrest Coach, owner and founder of Mamas on Bedrest and Beyond. Thanks for joining me.